Hello everyone, hope you all are doing well. So today we are going to discuss topic 35, that is soil erosion and its management. Topic 35, that is soil erosion and its management. So first of all we should know what soil erosion is. In this topsoil of field is carried away by physical sources, such as water and wind. So what is soil erosion? Here the topsoil of the field is carried away due to physical sources such as water and wind. What are the factors affecting soil erosion? Factors affecting soil erosion. First of all is rainfall and flooding. So rainfall and flooding at high intensity erodes our soil. Faulty agriculture practices, such as overtilling, overtillage, overgrazing, third point, logging and mining. What is logging? Logging means cutting trees. Construction, unsustainable methods of construction. Rivers and streams, what they do? They carry soil particles of their sides. Carry soil particles at their sides. I hope you have noticed, suppose this is a river, so the soil particles of the sides get eroded slowly. Heavy winds. So these are the factors which affect soil erosion. Now, what are the measures to control soil erosion? Measures to control soil erosion. Measures to control soil erosion. First of all, we will discuss agronomic measures. That is related to agricultural measures. Agriculture. We can do contour cultivation, mulching, that is materials. We cover the soil surface to check evaporation and soil water, and this also improves our controls erosion. I hope I have taught you mulching in the previous lectures. I hope you all understand. Use of dense growing crops, and use of cover crops and manure crops. Example, maize plus other. We can do strip cropping. It controls erosion and also maintains fertility. Both controls erosion and maintains fertility. We need to do conservation tillage. use of organic manures and fertilizers, use of organic manures and fertilizers, organic fertilizers. So these are some of the agronomic measures through which we can control soil erosion. Now moving on, what are the mechanical measures? Number second, mechanical measures. What are the mechanical measures to control erosion? We can do contour bunding, graded bunding, we can do bench terracing, we can do conservation ditching, contour ditching, basin listing, we can do subsoiling. So these are some measures, these are some mechanical measures through which you can prevent soil erosion. Now there are some agroecological or forestry measures. What are these? These are cultivation of grasses. If soil is left barren without any vegetation, the erosion frequency will be high. But we cultivate the soil with grasses, the erosion will be reduced. We need to do afforestation in barren lands mainly. We need to check overgrazing. We need to do agroforestry. So these are some of the agroecological and forestry measures. So these are the measures through which you can control soil erosion. There is nothing rocket science in this. I hope you all understand this. Now moving on, what are the types of erosion? What are the types of erosion? So we have got two types of erosion, water erosion and wind erosion. So today we are going to discuss first of all, not today we are going to discuss both, but first of all we are going to discuss water erosion. So in water erosion, first of all we are going to discuss seat erosion. The first is seat erosion. It is of three types: seat, reel and gully. So what is seat erosion? In seat erosion there is removal of soil surface, in thin layers by raindrop impact and shallow surface flow. It results in loss of finest soil particles that contain most of nutrients and organic matter, most of available nutrients and organic matter of soil. It is slow and gradual, and often it goes unnoticed. We are not able to notice this erosion because very slow, gradual and very thin layers are removed, so it is often unnoticed. Overgrazed and cultivated soil are most vulnerable to seat erosion. Lower soil most vulnerable. Why? Because it lacks a little because as in cultivated and overgrazed soils, the vegetation over the soil is lagging. This is not there, so they are more vulnerable because they do not hold the soil as the roots of vegetation hold the soil, and it is the first stage of erosion, first stage of water erosion. Second stage, moving to second stage, that is real erosion. Second type of water erosion, that is real erosion. So it is the second stage of erosion. Here what happens when runoff starts soil, when runoff starts, the soil is lost in small but defined channels. Or streamlets. These streamlets are also called reels. So here, from here the name comes, reel erosion. What happens? The raindrop impact doesn't directly detach any particles, but when the raindrops fall, they doesn't directly detach, but slowly they start sheet erosion. But when the runoff starts, they start detaching in channels. So that is what creates reel erosion. It happens when rainfall runoff exceeds 0.3 to 0.7 meter per second, millimeter per second. It is the second stage of erosion, you all know. Here reels are the small channels which can be removed. Reels are small channels. Which can be removed by timely tillage operations. The third one is the gully erosion. The advanced stage. What happens? The unchecked reels increase due to runoff and form gullies. Unchecked reels increase due to runoff and turn into gullies. Gullies are formed when channelized runoff from vast sloping land is sufficient in volume and velocity. It's sufficient in volume and velocity, and cut deep and wide channels, If these remains unchecked, there is no scope for arable crop production. If gully erosion remains unchecked, there is no scope of arable crop production. Hence, we need to check our erosion at real stage only, because after developing big gullies, it becomes very difficult for crop production. See what happens. Suppose this is layer of soil, raindrops fall, little bit of sheet. This is sheet erosion. Then what happens? This sheet starts due to runoff develop in small channels. This is reel, this is sheet, this is reel. And when these small channels develop into large channels, big channels, this is gullies. So we need to control our we must try to control erosion at this stage in our fields. How can we control at this stage? By tillage. So this is what sea trillium gully erosion is. Hope you all understand it. So this was all about water erosion. Now moving into wind erosion, that is second type. Wind erosion. So it also is of three types. First one is saltation. It is the movement of soil particles by short series of bounces along ground surface. Suppose this is a soil, so this is not short series of bounces here, then here, then here. So this is saltation. Now second one is suspension. Movement of fine dust particles is smaller than 1 mm diameter by floating in air. Diameter by what happened? This fine dust particle is floating in air here and there and here and there. So this is suspension. Now third one is surface creep. Rolling and sliding soil particles along ground surface. So what happens here? This is soil particles, this is rolling this way. So this is surface creep. So I hope you all understand these three types of wind erosion. Now moving on to the next topic of this session. Next topic of this session is losses due to erosion. Losses due to erosion. So first is land degradation. Land degradation. So nearly 65% of degraded land in India is due to water and wind erosion. So nearly 65% of degraded land in India is due to water and wind erosion. Second is flood and flood plains. Silt deposition makes silt deposition in floodplains makes cultivation very difficult. Productivity of agricultural land is decreased. Productivity of agricultural lands. Light to moderately degraded lands, light to medium degraded lands decrease the production by 10%, decrease the yield by 10%, and strongly degraded lands decrease the yield by 20%. Loss of scarce rainfall, that is through surface runoff, which also cause erosion. So what happens when gullies are formed, rills are formed? So these rainfalls are lost through these gullies as surface runoff. Moving on to next point. Erosion also causes environmental pollution. Environmental pollution. Sediment is one of major pollutants. Changing forest cover. Declining due to degradation of permanent pastures and upland forest. The pastures and open forests are changing itself into desert and arid regions due to high erosions, loss of biodiversity. India has lost at least half of its forest and degraded 70% of water bodies and coasts. Half of forest is lost and 70% of water bodies and coasts, and the biodiversity that is dependent on these are also losing. So these are the losses due to erosion. And we all know how to control erosion. We have got agronomic measures, mechanical measures, forestry measures that has been discussed earlier in this session. And you do keep making good notes. The notes you will make from these sessions is your Brahmas. Not a single question, more than 80 to 90% questions will directly from your notes. So keep making notes, it will be helpful. For any queries, do comment. If you like it, please press the like button. Do share and subscribe. That's all for today. Have a nice day. Thank you.